Welcome everyone, this is AndresRestart, and today we are talking about how it's looking like we are about to get some fairly significant Nintendo announcements having to do with Mario Day fairly soon, like actual game announcements. What are these announcements going to pertain to? When are they going to happen? Well, that's what we're talking about today. But before going forward, let me point out that we are currently aiming for a goal of 40,000 subscribers. So if you do enjoy my content, please subscribe and hit the notification bell, and enjoy the ride as we attempt to discuss Nintendo every day. So the reason why it's looking like we're about to get some announcements surrounding Mario Day is because Pyoro, the most credible leaker of all time when it comes to Nintendo things, is suggesting so. So if you don't know, Mario Day is March 10th. Why? Because MAR10 looks like Mario, and so that's why Nintendo tends to celebrate Mario on March 10th. But according to Pyoro, some things are going to be getting announced fairly soon. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Pyoro, as I said earlier, they're the most credible leaker of all time when it comes to Nintendo. Their track history speaks for itself. If you're unfamiliar with it, I recommend you check out our coverage of the partner showcase and how we talked about the most credible leaker Pyoro and how literally everything they talked about showed up in the most recent partner showcase, and this is just some of the examples. Everything they talk about that they don't specify we should take with a grain of salt comes to fruition pretty much. So when they say something, we take it seriously. Now, is it possible that even Pyoro could be wrong? Yes, it's possible. We haven't seen Pyoro be wrong about anything significant yet, but that day may come. So of course, take this information with a grain of salt. But I'm personally expecting this to happen fairly soon. So what is this? What is happening? Well, on Twitter, No Context Super Mario tweeted this. Hey Nintendo, I think it would be really awesome and cool if you dropped more news about this in March 10th. And they had an image of Paper Mario Thousand Year Door. This is the imagery for the remake that is coming sometime this year. And then Pyoro quoted this and said, MAR 10, Mario Day, falls on a Sunday this year, but with an ellipses. Which seems to imply that there still will be some type of announcement related to Paper Mario Thousand Year Door Remake close to Mario Day. We wouldn't see some significant news on a Saturday or on a Sunday, because that's the weekend, but maybe the Friday beforehand or the week beforehand, which is this current week, or the week afterwards. But it's not just having to do with Paper Mario Thousand Year Door. It's also Luigi's Mansion 2 HD, because Pyoro tweeted this. Also, this one, with the GIF of Luigi's Mansion 2. And so both Paper Mario Thousand Year Door Remake and Luigi's Mansion 2 are games that we're expecting news on fairly soon. Luigi's Mansion 2 currently has a release window of summer, and Thousand Year Door just has a release window of sometime this year of 2024. But both games have already been rated by the ESRB, telling us that they are already content complete and Nintendo could drop them pretty much at any point. And on top of that, GameStop recently put up listings for both of them, which seems to suggest that we could be getting news on them fairly soon. And when you factor these things along with what we're hearing from Pyoro now, it seems like we should be getting news really soon. As I said before, if not this week, next week. Now that's my own personal interpretation, maybe Pyoro just means sometime in the month of March, but I think it's going to be close to Mario Day, which will be March 10th. Now, what are we going to be learning about these games? Is it just going to be the release dates, or will there be more? Well, I wouldn't be surprised if we get trailers for both. That would be pretty cool. If there's going to be any sort of new content in these games, we might find out about them perhaps now. Of course, it's possible they may save an update like that for a Nintendo Direct. Now, some of you may be wondering, well, could we be getting a Nintendo Direct this month, early March, and that's why Pyoro is hinting at both news for Paper Mario and Luigi's Mansion 2. It is possible, but I'm personally doubtful that it's going to be a Nintendo Direct, because one, Pyoro hasn't said anything to suggest a Nintendo Direct yet, so there's that, but also, we have this other rumor going around that's coming from some fairly credible places that the next big Direct is supposed to happen in April. This information is coming from both Brazil and Necrofelipe from Universal Nintendo. I'll put that video in the iCard if you haven't heard about that one yet. but they both have been known to have pretty good solid sources, and so it seems like April is when we're going to be getting the Nintendo Direct. So while technically March would be a good month for a big Direct, currently I'm thinking we're just going to be getting some social media announcements close to Mario Day, and that's going to be for Paper Mario Thousand Year Door and for Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. Could there be more announcements centered around Mario Day made? For sure. Perhaps Pyoro will be tweeting more interesting hints about this soon. Or maybe we're just going to be getting some trailers about these games this week, along with some other tweets about Nintendo celebrating Mario Day. Now, I hope that we do get some news on these games beyond release dates. I would like to see if Paper Mario Thousand Year Door does have some significant new content, which I do think it will have something new. It just kind of depends on how significant that might be. I've personally been thinking maybe we could get like a Luigi's Quest in Thousand Year Door Remake, like an actual extra little playable campaign. That could be pretty cool, but that is unconfirmed at this point. It's just my own personal speculation. And maybe there's something extra thrown into Luigi's Mansion 2 HD as well, but of course that also remains to be seen. But what does kind of make me feel just a little bit more excited is that if we do get some significant news for both these games this month, and they're dated for, say, maybe April or May or June, then that would mean Nintendo kind of clearing up the slate in terms of the games we know about for this year, having it all cemented in stone in terms of the release dates, and that leaves things open for some other significant announcements later on, perhaps in a big general Nintendo Direct this April. Which I'm personally thinking is going to be a big Direct centered around telling us about everything for the rest of the year. Why would it be happening so early this year? Because it is widely believed that this is the big transitional year before Nintendo's next generation, and they want to get all the Switch announcements out soon so they can start talking about Switch 2 and marketing it appropriately, but also making sure the messaging is very clear and separate from Nintendo Switch 1. Nintendo wants to make sure that there isn't any confusion between either console. They don't want a Wii U debacle again. I'm really curious how Nintendo is going to go about transitioning the primary focus of marketing from Switch 1 to Switch 2 throughout this year. Of course, this is all with the assumption that the rumors are true, but at some point or another we do have to move on to next generation, and March 3rd just passed. It's been more than 7 years of Switch 1. We have to be getting close. But we shall see what happens. Are you excited for some news on Luigi's Mansion 2 HD and Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door Remake? Let me know in the comments below. This is AndresRestart. Thank you so much for listening and watching, and I'll see you all really soon. Take care. Bye.